Hello everyone! Before the video actually starts, I'd like to give a quick shout out to Reddit user MidDinos. This absolute legend is, no joke, the best sprite editor I've ever seen of any game. The reason I'm trying to raise attention to him is because I use some of his work in today's video. Of course, all of them will be credited in the description below. Seriously, go check his profile out, give him a follow if you have a Reddit account, you will not be disappointed. One final note, this list is obviously full of spoilers for Danganronpa V3, so watch at your own risk. With that being said, enjoy the video, and I'll see you all at the end.
Hey!
What are you saying?
2.
Shut up!
He is all that remains of a once powerful yokai.
Back to square one.
Right now, you're on the threshold of an amazing adventure, yokai. 1. 2.
Huh? What's going on?
Welcome! Seriously?
Let me explain.
No!
How stupid!
How horrible!
Looking forward to it! Is that so?
No, that's wrong!
And another thing.
Let's give it everything we've got!
Let's begin. Huh?
What in the world?
Oh me, oh my.
Everyone, be careful!
Now then,
Hey,
you're really bugging me. The fuck's going on? Yeah. You're annoying. Ahem.
What?
Yeah, number 10 is Angionaga, the ultimate artist. In all honesty, this was a really tough call between her and Tenko, but I kind of had to choose Angie after looking at both of their free time events. It's kind of hard to talk about her like I talk about many other characters, and that's because Angie isn't like most of the recognizable faces of Danganronpa. Let's start from the beginning, alright? Angie's weird. Really fucking weird. And I don't mean weird like Gundam or even Ifumi for that matter. She's flat out creepy for the majority of the game. When you first meet her as Kaede, the one thing that becomes glaringly obvious right away is that she's incredibly devout to her god, an entity she calls Atua. And I'm sure that if you look at about, I want to say 60% of all the analysis of this character, it's hard to find someone who managed to see past that, which is nothing but disrespectful to her true nature, I feel. So I'm here to right that wrong. For starters, her presence in the game starts intensifying in Chapter 2, with the subtle brainwashing of Himiko, who was willing to take on her teachings. That presence culminates in a third chapter entirely dominated by her narrative, with her working as a sort of main antagonist. Now, as much as I don't like her methods, I cannot see this as malicious anymore. I truly and genuinely believe that she was trying her hardest to end the killing game and save the remaining students. And even though I wasn't fazed at all by her death at first, I've got to say that I now look back at it with a pained look. This last statement applies to both of Chapter 3's deaths, actually. The creation of a student council led by her was also a very interesting event, but one that I feel was severely underutilized in the class trial. However, if we talk about Angie only in light of what she did in the main game, I'd say she wouldn't even be close to being in this top 10. But, and this is a pretty big but, I managed to see past that and admire what she really is. One thing that her free time events showed me made me change my entire perception of Angie. She's incredibly lonely. On her island, everyone follows her cult, sure. But how many of those people can she truly call her friends? How many of those people have fun with her, have a few laughs, or even argue with her for that matter? When she said that Shuichi was meant for her because nobody else had ever been mad at her, my heart sank. Her life was anything but normal. So of course she wouldn't be normal either. In the end, it's not that I don't mind what she did. I still believe her actions in Chapter 3 were wrong and could have been avoided. But I can at least appreciate what she truly is. A lost girl, looking desperately for guidance herself, while giving it to others. It's a beautifully poetic character, but one I can't really praise for her actions. And that's why she starts off this list.
You're annoying.
What should we do?
Looking forward to it.
But how?
K1B0. I believe you'd prefer if I called you Kibo. It's not particularly easy to talk about him, and that's due to the fact that his character remains fairly unchanged throughout the majority of the game. It just so happens that his character is incredibly compelling and, if I'm being honest, absolutely deserving of a place in this list. So, let's dissect this robot, shall we? His introduction remains one of the most hilarious segments in the game, seeing as it is closely tied to the introduction of a certain little shit whose name shall not be pronounced for now. But don't let his embarrassment hide who he truly is. A robot of virtue. Someone who holds firm in his beliefs and ideals to the bitter end. For the majority of the game, Kibo is, for the lack of a better word, a major goody two-shoes. Advocating for a peaceful resolution to all conflict, a strong opposer to the class trials and killing game in general, and, above all else, just the most Kiyotaka Ishimaru character we see in this game. Now, until the end of Chapter 5, he's, let's say pretty unremarkable. Yeah, he's a robot, but what does he have to his name? He's pretty logical when it comes to solving murders and a pretty good companion to the cast, but, again, pretty unremarkable. That is, of course, until that fateful moment in Chapter 5's execution. From the moment he loses his Robo-Ahoji, it's like he becomes someone else entirely, while in reality it's not really like that. He's still the same character. However, he's resorting to much more extreme measures to make sure that hope prevails. Ah, yes. Hope. A word we're all too acquainted with. Kibo is this game's ultimate hope, although that doesn't really become truly apparent until everyone gives up during the final class trial. And even then, his hope isn't really his. He's quickly revealed to be a surrogate for the audience watching the killing game, making the Robo-Ahoji he had an antenna to receive input. That inner voice of his turned out to be the will of the audience itself. In one fell swoop, everything we thought we knew about him falls off. Now, what keeps him from reaching higher on the list is just what could be described, in my opinion, as a serious lack of character development. Despite his interactions with Shuichi and the rest really motivating him to keep pursuing that hope, he's just dead set on that one particular goal, which unfortunately makes him sort of one-dimensional most of the time. And when he starts developing, he's shut down immediately by having the audience take over his body and consciousness. It's a damn shame. He had so much potential. It was always there. Just, it was never taken. And I can't place him higher because of that.
Sayonara!
That's enough!
Kaito, no!
Yeah.
You're the worst of the worst!
Psycho Pop!
Why, you...
Can I say it? Is it safe to say it? Alright. Fuck Mew! Not in that sense, but I always had some hatred towards this girl. Even today as I'm speaking. Although it wasn't really normal hatred, it's more akin to love-hate. I seriously don't know what I'm saying at this point. Muiruma is just Muiruma. There are no sets of adjectives capable of describing the self-proclaimed gorgeous girl genius. Speaking of the 3 G's, let's check that, shall we? Gorgeous? Absolutely. Girl? Last time I checked, I think she was. Genius?
Sir, we have a problem.
Yeah, Miu's not what I would call smart. From the moment you meet her, it's obvious her head's on other places. Which, considering what she accomplishes for the cast in the late game, doesn't seem to add up. In one simple sentence, I could describe her importance like this. Her inventions are the driving force of chapters 5 and 6. That's really all you need to realize, that she isn't just the vulgar and crude girl she appears to be. But let's leave that for later. For now, let's focus on the word vulgar, because let's face it, that's Miu. I don't think I ever saw a character produce more jokes of a sexual nature. Be them innuendos or straight up hint hint nudge nudge in any type of media before. I have no idea why this poor lass's head is filled to the brim with stuff like that, but she's unique, I'll give her that much. Whenever she's on screen, she manages to make me both laugh and feel creeped out. And that's a first. Some of her highlights include...
What? Why the heck were you in your underwear, Mew? Well, because, you know, I'm pretty stacked, so... I figured I'd take my clothes off so Gonta would be too flustered to touch me. That's my story and I'm sticking to it, you cockroaches! Anyway, I think the blood rushed to both of Gonta's heads because he got super embarrassed. Alright, so who's the asshole who set up this locked room mystery?
Mew, I can't hold it up anymore.
What's the matter? You going soft on me now?
Who made the locked room mystery doesn't matter since anyone could have done it. Don't you even understand something as basic as that, you filthy cum dumpster?
Cum dumpster!
And that's all we can display here in a row. Honestly, given this, she would already have a spot on this list. But it's the second part of her character that gets her the number 8 spot. Both her free time events and her actions in Chapter 4 lead me to believe she is so much more than she shows. Much more. Not to mention her love suite scene, but we'll focus more on the other two. Starting with her final chapter in the main game, the way she reacts to Monotaro calling her mother made me think something interesting. But it wasn't until I finished her free time events that I realized what she was truly seeking. A deep connection with someone. It was all coming together. Her wish of being a mother, her constant and desperate struggle for approval, and more importantly, her fears of just creeping people out with her personality. Although she doesn't really show it, I believe Miu deeply cares for, well, at least some of her classmates. Which makes her inevitable betrayal in Chapter 4 soul-crushing, actually. At the time, I really disliked her as a character. But now, knowing what I do, it's hard to truly do that anymore. Still, though, it's a love-hate relationship. I do believe her character to be much deeper than she lets on, though. But yeah. Fuck you!
Hey!
Jeez.
Huh? Are you kidding me?
Unbelievable.
What's wrong?
How stupid!
The shell of who once was the ultimate tennis pro, Ryoma Hoshi. Man, where can I even start with a character like him? Ryoma's unique. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Okay, imagine Gundam without all of the talk about heck, remove the animals, partially at least, and add 150% more ways to go. And you get Ryoma. Okay, I get it. Ryoma's a serious character, so I'll talk seriously about him. If I've ever felt bad about any character, be it real or fictional, this guy has to take the cake. His backstory is so fucking depressing, and he deserves all the hugs in the world. Not so fun fact, Ryoma has two different ultimate talents. He is indeed the ultimate tennis bro, but he also earned the title of ultimate prisoner. And that's because of his past, albeit fabricated past, actions. As a young tennis prodigy, Ryoma had a bright future ahead of him. However, he was invited to a tournament organized by a mafia, in which all games were rigged. Upon finding that out, he straight up ruined the last match and the mafia's rep, which led to an onslaught of everyone he ever held close, including his girlfriend. Taking revenge, he killed all of the mafia members with a metal tennis ball and was sent to jail for that. Since then, he grew distant and almost suicidal at times, making him one of the saddest characters in the series. After the introduction of the killing game, when Kaede tried to unify all the ultimates, it's clear that a spark of hope was kindled within Ryoma. Said spark would remain there until Chapter 2's motive. The motive videos. The most important people in the lives of these high school students. Ask yourselves this. What would you do if you received a video like that and it was nothing but void? What would you do if you realized there was nobody cheering you on? Nobody to stay strong for? Nobody to welcome you back if you survived the killing game? Because, added Ryoma's backstory, it's pretty clear what he would do. Yeah. In Class Trial 2, the cast learns of how Ryoma was killed. He literally gave up his life to the Blackened of Chapter 2. When I first saw Ryoma's motive video, I was floored. Everyone had someone or something to care for but him. And I felt so sorry for him. It's so easy to write him off as an edgelord at the beginning of the game, but both his free time events and his last chapter alive show that he had a reason for behaving like that. And that final free time event with him, where he plays tennis with Shuichi, made me really happy. Ryoma Hoshi deserves to be happy. He deserves to have someone care for him. But above all else, he deserves the number 7 spot in this list.
Hey.
What's going on? Do you understand?
Don't be stupid!
Jeez.
Kaito Mimota. It's okay, sorry, couldn't resist. I shall now address him by his proper title because he deserves it. The Luminary of the Stars. Kaito's... Well, I'll describe Kaito in a single sentence. The broest bro to ever commit bro. That is all. Honestly, a character like him is always so nice to come across. When you first meet him, it's pretty evident that he views himself in very high regard. And throughout the game, it's clear that he considers himself the hero of the story, going so far as to call Shuichi his sidekick. Even as characteristics like these would simply make me dislike the character due to narcissism and such, I'm sorry, I can't hate Kaito. Not even a bit. He's not self-centered because he doesn't care for anyone else. Actually, it's quite the opposite. He cares for pretty much everyone around him. Well, minus a certain single short asshole. And this is no more evident than in his relationship with 2 characters in particular. So let's analyze both of them, shall we? First, we have Shuichi. Every time the two talk, I swear I leave the conversation with a smile on my face. And it's not even like a subtle smile, it's a full-on dumb-looking smile. This is the pinnacle of friendship. That's really all there is to it, and if you disagree, I'd like to know why. Kaito is there whenever Shuichi needs him to be. This is especially true during Chapter 2, when Shuichi is at its most vulnerable due to a certain traumatic experience we will not talk about, at least for now. Seeing how a relationship like this developed throughout the game to culminate in one of the most heart-shattering finales to a class trial is... yeah, it's tough. When Kaito admits to Shuichi that he's known it was Shuichi's story in his own quirky way, I honestly couldn't handle it that well. But surprisingly, that is nothing compared to his relationship with Maki. Man, where do I even start with this one? Well, how about with...
Shut up. I won't let you kill him. No.
You? Huh? What? What?
No. I won't let you kill him.
Yeah. Even more than Shuichi, Maki grows attached to this idiotic astronaut. And it's amazing how well it works. The evolution of a relationship that ends with... well... It's beautifully done, okay? Slowly building up a character, making us care for their future interactions with other characters, including the protagonist, only to cut it off like this. In many ways, his death reminded me a lot of Chiaki's, but a bit different. It's difficult to explain what I mean, but I'm sure I'm not alone. And it just leaves a mix of both fulfillment and distress. Kaito's work was essentially done, but Shuichi and Maki weren't ready for the brutal hit of his departure. It's difficult to say anything else. Kaito is an amazing character. That is pretty much everything I have to say. I just hope my description did him justice in your eyes, because it sure as hell didn't for me.
Huh. Hey! Ha I believe in you.
Kaito, no!
My bad. Let's go!
Yes, indeed. Okay. How stupid!
What happened?
So yeah, another tie. Hooray! Let's start with Himiko Umano, the ultimate the ultimate mage. Himiko's really hard to talk about consistently, actually. For starters, she might just be the laziest character in the whole series, and I don't say such a thing lightly. I'm a lazy guy myself, trust me. I mean, her catchphrase, besides her signature, is "what a pain." You don't really need any more evidence. When you first meet her, you can't really tell what her character will be like. With the progression of the game, you start to understand what makes the little mage tick. She's not lazy for the sake of laziness. She's lazy because she doesn't want to get hurt if she invests time into things and people. That's why she eventually forms a bond with Angie, of all people. We've discussed this before. Angie offers guidance to people like her, and Himiko embraces this fully, being the first member of the student council. However, the most interesting interaction with Himiko up until chapter 3 is definitely with Tenko. For the majority of those first 3 chapters, it's more like a one-way obsession that the ultimate Aikido master has over Himiko. Enter Class Trial 3. This is the turning point. When Tenko and Angie died, Himiko felt like giving up because what she tried to avoid happened. It's a bit like Hyoko in the second case of Danganronpa 2. She snaps emotionally. For one, she finally realizes how much Tenko truly cared for her, and the weight of her death begins taking its toll. But through the help of a certain little shit, her bottled up emotions come raging out. And for the first time since we see her, she cries. She cries a lot, actually. She mourns the deaths of her friends. From then on, her arc would lead her to become one of the characters with the most development in the series. only rivaled by 2 people in my eyes. Other than one other character in this game, I'm happy to say that Himiko goes to the greatest lengths to change, eventually siding with Shuichi and giving her own life to end the cycle of killing games. Honestly, I was tempted to put Himiko in the number 4 spot, but that would mean the rest of the list would be invalid. So let's just move to the second part of this entry. Next, we have Gonta Gokuhara, the ultimate entomologist. Now, to quote Keiko Kev, the greatest Danganronpa character analyst ever, no shoot! Okay. All jokes aside, Gonta's the gentle giant of this game. And while I've heard the argument that it had been done better before, I have to respectfully disagree there, Chief, at least when it comes to Danganronpa. Fun fact, Gonta's caveman-like dialogue was a localization error. Yeah, I know that these aren't exactly news, but I just found out like a month ago as I'm writing this. That aside, he's actually pretty intelligent. He can think for himself and always tries to do the right thing for the sake of his friends. Even if he is a little gullible, but we're going to go over that later. For me, what makes Gonta stand out is just how tightly he upholds the morals by which he operates. Sure, people could say that about both Sakura and Nekomaru, but I don't know, something just clicked with Gonta. The way he aspires to become a true gentleman while being an outcast of society makes him extremely likable, in my opinion. Although this can lead him to be quite simple-minded and, gullible. Always back to that word, huh? The fact that he lacks a proper understanding of etiquette and gentlemanly things makes him believe what anyone will tell him about it. A good example of this is in Chapter 2's Insect Meet and Greet, sponsored by the one and only little midget shit. Besides that though, his dialogue is humorous, his presence undeniable, and his company appreciated. He's Gonta. And so it stays until a faithful moment. Chapter 4 tends to be that one emotionally driven chapter before the big boss Chapter 5. And as the official Danganronpa Holy Book states in paragraph 1401, all thy enormous friend shalt be killed thy fourth. Gonta still broke the mold, ending up as the murderer of Miu Iruma, in what I can only describe as a top 3 contender for saddest case in the series. Many people believe he wouldn't have done that without Kokichi's influence, and honestly, that's a completely valid point for 90% of the cases in which it's referred. However, I don't think it's like that at all. This falls very in line with something his character would do on his own, should he find out the truth like he did. Think about it. His wish at the time was that he would be useful to everyone. Discovering a truth like the one he discovered would make him realize that dying would be a better solution than living with that knowledge. In that way, he would seem useful to the others in his eyes. Of course, Kokichi's words did influence him in further solidifying that belief, but it was mainly his own will. And that's it. His will. It's unbreakable. In the end, he still held up to his beliefs, and that is why I duly respect and admire Gonta Gokuhara.
Thrills, chills, kills!
Please stop!
Hey, degenerate male! Oh?
Hey! What?
I got it!
What? Well, you know.
I should have known it was inevitable. Allow me to be honest with you guys. I despise Kokichioma. You probably misheard me. I hate him. Cunning, manipulative, little liar bitch! That said, he's one of my favorite characters in all of Danganronpa. How about we actually start where we should? The beginning. Kokichi's introduction still remains one of the funniest moments in V3. And a moment that immediately sets one thing straight to the player. He is not afraid to speak up his mind. Of course, that would be his main trademark characteristic if—
It's a lie!
That would be his main trademark character—
It's a lie!
That would be his— It's a lie! God damn it, if he wasn't such a lying piece of shit! There! Jesus Christ, annoying fucking midge! My sincere apologies, everyone. Back on track, shall we? Kokichioma, Ultimate Supreme Leader. He's gained the adoration of a large part of the fandom for several reasons. And today, my job is to try to explain why. Well, first of all, he's the so-called antagonist of V3. Where Trigger Happy Havoc had Byakuya and Danganronpa 2 had Nagito, V3 had Kokichi. For the majority of the game, it's pretty clear that he's up to something. Constantly lying to drive cases and trials to where he wants, turning entire arguments around with his speech alone, and above all, making damn sure he gets his point across at every opportunity he has. In the first 3 chapters, his presence, albeit very significant, has very little impact on the overall development of the story, in my opinion, of course. He does have some genuinely amazing moments in those chapters, though. My favorites have to be the constant bickering with Mew and his lesson to Himiko at the end of Class Trial 3. But Chapter 4... Wait, I just realized all the antagonists went through some change in the 4th chapter. Huh. How about that? Anyway, Chapter 4 was something. Not as brutal as Danganronpa's Chapter 4, that's for sure, but a lot more, intense, somehow. The return of the New World program, the betrayal of Mew, and Kokichi's descent into insanity were all highlights. And how about that insanity, huh? The setup to Chapter 5 was nothing short of phenomenal. It really solidified one thing in me. My pure hatred for him.
You?
Huh? I don't want to, stupid head!
Kokichi.
Oh man, did you fall for all that fake crying? You're so dumb! I would never cry for Gonta! Who cares about that idiot? I want to enjoy this game filled with suspicion and betrayal from the bottom of my heart! I am the supreme leader of evil, so it's obvious my personality would be twisted. The more you suffer, the more I enjoy it. There are people in this world who spread grief and misery for no reason than the thrill of it. And I'm one of those people. Nothing pleases me more than inflicting pain on others!
That leads directly into my favorite chapter in the series. V3's Chapter 5. While I despise his face, I have to agree Kokichi is nothing short of a genius. Playing the bad guy for the majority of it, he actually almost stopped the killing game. Well, until... Oh my god, it's so cool! That world, this world, it's all connected! Realizing that the others' will to fight back against despair was renewed by whatever they saw, Kokichi made one last-ditch effort to win. An unsolvable murder. Honestly, Nagito's case was like kids playing Cluedo compared to this shit. A murder in which both participants went missing, and in which it was impossible to determine who died. When the cat's out of the bag and Kaito explains what Kokichi said to him, you start to get a different perspective on him. Black and white are concepts that need to be forgotten when talking about Kokichi. Nobody will ever know his true motives, intentions, and who he really was. But in my opinion, I truly believe he despised the killing game and everything it stood for. However, unlike the other characters, he didn't trust anyone as well. And I also believe that attitude originated from the first case, where Kaede, the unifying element of the group, betrayed and ended up killing someone. Which was a lie, but still. Seeing that someone like her could end up doing something like that was a turning point for Kokichi, who decided he was going to end this, but on his own. Just like Nagito, Kokichi is a character that deserves a deeper analysis. I am afraid I can't do him justice in a short entry from this top 10. For now, I'll simply state this. Fuck Kokichioma. All my homies love Kokichioma.
I don't like that.
Are you okay?
Sayonara! Looking forward to it!
Answer me. What does that mean? Jeez. What? Are you stupid?
I suppose so.
Shuichi. You bastard.
It's indeed your boy. What, did you expect a loud screech about it? It wasn't funny the second time. On with the entry! Shuichi Saihara, the ultimate detective and the true protagonist of the game. In a game as complex as V3, you'd expect an equally complex protag and, well, Shuichi does deliver. It's just not immediate. Let me explain. As you all know, or at least should know, Shuichi is not the first protagonist of V3. That honor goes to Kaede. However, after her death, Shuichi takes that role. And early V3 Shuichi is... well, it's really hard to classify for one. If I had one word for him up until mid-chapter 3, I think it would be insecure. Extremely insecure of his own abilities, of his own qualities, and of his own results. While most of those insecurities are tied to his traumatic past as an apprentice to the office of detective, I believe these are more a product of chapter 1. Let's not forget that until he learns the truth of Rentaro's killing, Shuichi holds himself personally responsible for Kaede's execution due to sloppy detective work. Having to live with that? Well, let's just say I believe none of us could have coped any better. Even in such a damaging mental state, Shuichi displayed an unbelievable force of will. It was that force of will that allowed him to do his best both during his daily and, well, not so daily life. Sure, he was helped by Kaito a lot, but without the willpower, Shuichi might as well have been a paperweight in class trials. While that's impressive on its own, from chapter 4 and onward, Shuichi becomes a force to be reckoned with. Not physically, obviously, but within the cast of V3. He stands in the center of the clash of two completely different ideologies, Kaito's and Kokichi's. And I find him to be the balance that neither could ever achieve on their own. Chapter 4 is the one to make that all the more evident, especially during the class trial. As a total side note, I forgot to mention this during Kokichi's entry, but I feel like the transition between V3's chapter 4 and 5 is the best in the series. And one of the reasons for that is that it's the belief in Shuichi by both of the main characters of chapter 5. Despite being polar opposites, both Kaito and Kokichi truly believe in not only Shuichi's abilities, but his potential to be the one to end the killing game. And all that potential is finally realized in the final class trial. I haven't talked a lot about this class trial during the video. That's because I was waiting for this exact entry, and it's finally time. The class trial of the century. The dawn of a new era in the world. And leading the charge, we have Shuichi. This once timid and incredibly insecure person grew to become an absolutely dominant figure in the end. Character development? Hell fucking yes! And this is no further exemplified than by the last rebuttal showdown of the game. I want you to pay attention. Very close attention.
Everything is going to be okay. We'll definitely find hope. What do you mean, hope? What? I reject that hope! I refuse. I won't accept that hope.
Shuichi, what's the matter?
It's because of hope that this whole thing is happening! I reject that hope!
Why did I ask you guys to pay attention? A few things. First of all, the song choice, Clair de Lune. A phenomenal music masterpiece, once used to transmit a feeling of loss and grieving. Now used to empower Shuichi in his stand against the killing game. Then the line, I reject that hope. I swear that is probably the single most powerful line in the entire series. And this is coming from someone who loved Hajime's entire speech in the final class trial of Danganronpa 2. In the end, the actions he started changed the whole world, conveying probably the most profound message of the series as well. Fiction can change the world. Together, they ended Danganronpa, and they ended it in the best way possible. Shuichi Saihara is, without question, my favorite protagonist of the series, and absolutely deserving of a place in the top 3.
Wow, impressive.
Beautiful.
Hey! Aww. That's terrible.
Looking forward to it.
Is this...
Well, you knew it was coming. If you've watched my Let's Play on V3 or simply been a regular at my Twitch live streams, then you are aware of the deep affection I feel towards Maki Harukawa. As usual, these entries get less and less objective as we approach the conclusion, so let's just cut the chit-chat, shall we? The Ultimate Assassin would hold my favorite character arc of the series if Fuyuhiko's wasn't a thing. I swear by every word, every letter I'm spouting right now. Let's try to look into her character. At the beginning of the game, she's very secluded. She doesn't really enjoy talking, and others' company seems to actually bother her. A lot. She does have this aura about her when you meet her that makes her feel almost hostile. I'm going to be fully transparent and say that I was scared of her. Very scared of her. And when Chapter 2 rolled around, she became borderline antisocial, never leaving her lab. The player really isn't given a reason as to why that was the case until the end of the class trial.
You know, this is an interesting turn of events. But would you really kill me in front of everyone?
Hey, Maki, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, you can probably snap my neck like a twig right now. But that's not your style. You would rather kill from the shadows. Right, Miss Ultimate Assassin?
Up until that point, we've been led to assume that Maki was only the ultimate child caregiver. But Kokichi saw through it and abused the hell out of it. Chapter 3 was the turning point. With Maki being forced to live with everyone knowing her true talent, she tries to lock herself up in her room. This is because, despite having such a horrific talent, she despises every aspect of being an assassin. More on that later. However, the training sessions that Kaito held gained another follower, albeit unwillingly at first. This is the start of the most beautiful relationship in this game. And really, as time went on, Maki opened up more and more, growing attached to both Kaito, in a romantic sense, and Shuichi, in more of a sibling-like sense. Eventually, in Chapter 5, after Kaito became angry at Shuichi for the events in Class Trial 4, it's actually Maki herself that works towards patching things up. Now that I think about it, Maki's the main catalyst of the entirety of Chapter 5. She's the one who managed to get everyone else on their feet after Kokichi showed them the truth. She's the one who starts up the entire killing case. She's the one who made Chapter 5 into what it is. I'd go so far as to say that Chapter 5 is Maki's chapter, which blends perfectly with Shuichi's chapter of Chapter 6. However, her backstory and talent are what make her a transcendent character in my eyes. As I've stated before, she despises being an assassin, but she still chose to become one. And it's all due to the fact that if it wasn't her, her best friend would have been one. She chose to sacrifice her entire life to keep her friends safe from that world. And that's when it hits you. Maki doesn't enjoy killing. Maki doesn't kill in cold blood like Kokichi said she'd do. She's a gentle soul who had a really hard choice to make. That gentle nature of hers carries into the killing game, where the only time she tried to actively kill someone was when she was convinced that they were the mastermind behind it all. And after Kaito's execution, I like to believe that she makes a silent promise. Something akin to, I'll fight on. I've seen people call Maki just edgy, and all I can say is, how fucking dare you? Maki Harukawa might seem like that, but just like Ryoma, there's a lot more than meets the eye, and even more so than Ryoma. Her actions speak volumes about her true nature. I find her character to be pure poetry, and that is all I really need to justify my unending appreciation of her.
You're really bugging me.
You have to live!
That is troubling.
Hold on!
What a waste.
Yeah.
Yes, I am mainstream as fuck. Sue me. I couldn't care less that she was written to be likable and charitable. I love Kaede. Period. So yes, Kaede Akamatsu is my #1 pick. Why? Let's check that out, alright? Before anything though, you might remember a quote from my #3. Shuichi Saihara is, without question, my favorite protagonist of the series. And that is true, because I can't compare the time both of them had as protagonists. It simply isn't fair for Kaede. Not to mention that Shuichi just fills that role of protagonist superbly well, while Kaede, well, we'll talk about that in this entry. With that out of the way, Kaede Akamatsu, the ultimate pianist. She's a ball of positivity and the most optimistic character in the series, not to mention one of the cutest. Her presence in a room alone is enough reason to make me feel at ease, for crying out loud. And yet, she's not here for those qualities alone. To be my favorite character in this game, one needs much more than to be likable. One needs to have all the right qualities. And I'm happy to say that Kaede holds them all. For the short screen time Kaede is given, we are given a lot. And I do mean a lot. She's by far the most assertive character of this roster, for starters. She isn't afraid to speak up her mind, but unlike Kokichi, she has no second intentions in her speech. We can immediately tell what kind of character she is when she takes Shuichi under her wing and encourages him to do better, to believe in himself, because she does too. If I'm being honest, Kibo might have taken that title, but there's little doubt in my mind. Kaede is this game's true ultimate hope, and one only needs to take a look at how she behaves to arrive at this conclusion. Supportive of others, a total sweetheart, the unifying element in an otherwise disordered group, the linchpin of a very important promise that gets broken by her own hands. At the center of it all lies a girl who never gave up hope. A girl who refused to lie down and take whatever the killing game had to throw at her, until her final moments. Kaede, as many of you know, was the killer of Chapter 1. The victim, Rentaro Amami. The goal, to end the killing game from the start. The first class trial was nothing short of devastating for not only the player, but the cast as well. While she intended to kill the mastermind, the game was rigged from the start. It hurts even more when you realize that she didn't even commit the killing that she was accused of and eventually executed for. A loss of life too tragic to be true. A love story unfinished. A leader taken down. If that wasn't enough, the game throws one last thing at you to make you understand just how unforgiving her death was. While her free time events are only accessible after you beat the game, they are my favorite set in the entire series. I'm sorry, Mahiru, but it's true. A story of how she helped Shuichi play the very piece that, in another time, represented his sadness and dismay at her death. The very piece that's playing right now. Claire de Lune. Kaede is nothing short of a phenomenal character, with one of the most tragic ends I've ever seen. Her personality shines through every time she speaks or thinks. Her belief in others, her willingness to accept that she made a mistake, her willpower to make sure Shuichi would carry on after her death. A beautifully written character for such a short screen time. It makes me wish she had survived all the way, alongside her beloved detective. Kaede Akamatsu is my favorite character from Danganronpa V3 Killing Harmony. And there is very, very little that could change that. Everyone, don't lose sight of the truth.
I'm glad.
It can't be! What the heck?
We're not gonna lose to you!
That's horrific.
Ahem!
I can't back down!
How can this be? Yay!
Everyone, let's shut this game down!
Isn't that right? Huh? There's one last thing. That's
impossible! It can't be!
That's right. Master.
Hey! Now I'm really...
Hey. But could it be? Then thank you.
Is that all a dream? I was there. The Ultimate Academy. What a weird dream, dude. I'm so tired from recording the top 10 voices. What's up? Well, first of all, my mic is not usually here, but second, the script is open. Why is OBS open now as well? What time is it even? 6:06 p.m. My god, I slept way too much. Oh, at this rate, I'm never gonna get the video out. Guess it's back to work, I guess. The script was changed? It's a lot different. Oh, that's exactly almost the same as my dream. What the fuck? What is going on here? What? Why is my computer recording? I don't remember leaving him recording. How long has it been? Over an hour? What? I am so lost. Did that really happen? I can't wrap my head around this. I'm going. I think I've had too much work today. Hey everyone, and thank you for watching my top 10 Danganronpa V3 characters. This was by far my most ambitious project ever, and it took so long to end it. So I want to say a special thanks to a couple of different people. First, a huge shout out once again to Reddit user MidDinos for allowing me to use his amazing sprite edits on this video. Some of the sprites I traced of myself came from Hajime's sprite edits, and don't even get me started on Mukuro. She looks fantastic. I'd really appreciate if you guys have a Reddit account to follow this person and see more of his outstanding work. Second, a huge thank you to everyone whose patience led to this. I know I've been mean before with this project, and the fact that everyone was still hyped for it is amazing. I can't stress that enough. Thank you guys so much. Finally, if you are watching during the premiere, a special thanks to you for accompanying me through this journey. It was long, it was tough, and it was full of bumps, but we're finally here. And with that, the video has reached its end. Thank you all for watching this video. I honestly never thought a project like this would be done by me. And the simple fact that it's going live right now and that people are probably watching it is surreal, actually. It's kind of surreal. Anyways, guys, that would be all for now. Thank you all for watching. If you liked this top 10, consider subscribing for similar content and later on, more interesting projects that I have started. And yeah, I guess that's it. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, peace.